All right, so we've done our first sample piece right here. So this is what we're looking at doing is basically I've got the whiteboard that's going to go through, so that'll be tied in there, and then we have the darker color that would be a 1x, so that will go all the way across, and then we end up having the other 1x to kind of box all that in there. So that I think would be a good look, and what we could always do later is put a small crown molding in there that would be white, so that would kind of set it all off. I think that that's going to be a good effect. I think that's going to be a real good effect. I'm going to have my wife take a look at it, see what she thinks on it, but definitely looks better than looking at bats of insulation. All right. Okay, so we've got all of our balusters in on this side. It looks great. And you see we have this nice bull nose that's right here, and I've been racking my brains trying to figure out what I was going to do on this side, because this side was never finished because it was basically a wall here. So they didn't worry about this. It just had this piece of molding on here. Well, I need to do something that looks better than what this does. So here's what I've come up with. First of all, we're short here with some of the flooring, so I need to marry some in here. You can see somebody had already married some in here, which is not bad. Got a chip section, I need to put some in there. So here's what I've done. I've taken some of the boards that we've reclaimed here. You see that has a little bevel in there, so we want to put that bevel into it. To raise it up to make sure I have enough to sand off, we're going to glue and nail this little spacer piece here, and then this will be able to go into there, a few little finish nails, some glue on it, and then we can sand and fill it in to match up pretty well with this, and that'll give us our filler pieces. The balusters will go right on top of it, so you really won't see too much of it. Now, the second part of this, I've got a piece of reclaimed wood here, antique heart pine. It's a little bit short, but this is the longest piece that I have. We're going to bullnose this, and we're going to put it in here to match that one. It's a little bit thinner, but it'll be okay. We'll end up using 3/8 inch round over, so it'll be a full bullnose. And what we're going to do is, we've marked a line in here that we're going to take the circular saw, and we're going to cut this out down 3/4 of an inch, and we'll end up gluing that in. We'll put another filler piece up here to meet it. We'll put this in place, put a piece of molding underneath of it, paint it, and then it'll be bullnosed like that side. So that's the best that we could do with getting this figured out. I actually think it's going to be a pretty good solution. I think by the time it's ended up being sanded with the balusters on here, you won't notice the difference. Now, this is pine filler, floor filler. It's very stable. It's going to hold up forever, but it's going to shine. When it's varnished, it's going to show. This over here is actually glue and some of the wood chips. It's darker, but I think that that's going to be a better effect to fill in. And with it being glue, it's solid as a rock. So trying to fill in as best we can. What we can do when we sand out the floor is we can take the sawdust and we can mix it with glue and make a putty and use it to fill in. It's going to be about the closest color-wise that we're going to have. So I'm going to nail these in place, get them glued and screwed, let that set, and then I'll cut this even, and we'll go from there. I guess that's about the best solution that we could come up with. You know, you're dealing with an old house. There is no perfect solution for any of it.
Alright, so you can see I've cut this part with the vibrating cutter. I need to square it up just a little bit. I can go down with the circular saw and cut almost all the way down there, but then I'll have to finish it off on the edge. This way I can put that nose in here. I still have plenty of meat that's holding these boards on, and I'll build this up so that way it will be all the same. At least that's the plan. And that'll give us a nice finished edge as opposed to what I was looking at right there. It'll look like this side, so we're going to try and make it work. All right, so we've got our lip here for this. We're going to need to cut a piece to bridge this up, and also for that to rest on. I need to cut a piece that'll fit in here to fill it in, but you can see that we'll be able to put a nice straight piece on here. Bullnose, so this bull nose, so it'll be 2.5 inches wide through there. Hard to believe. I cut that freehand with a circular saw. Look at that. Boom. Not bad. Not bad at all. All right, so we've got our lip here for this. We're going to need to cut a piece to bridge this up, and also for that to rest on. I need to cut a piece that'll fit in here to fill it in, but you can see that we'll be able to put a nice straight piece on here. Bullnose, so this bull nose, so it'll be 2.5 inches wide through there. Hard to believe. I cut that freehand with a circular saw. Look at that. Boom. Not bad. Not bad at all. I'm gonna need a new saw blade too, because we cut through a couple of nails that were in there. But I'm okay with that, because this is going to be perfect. So now what I'm gonna do is, this is actually a 1/2 inch round over bit. I don't have a 3/8, but I'm just gonna just take it back just a little bit and see if we can bullnose that piece to go in here. I didn't realize how hot it is outside because it's so cool inside with the AC, but it's like 90 out here. Feels good inside. In fact, you feel how cold it is. So this is that board we had. We've roughly sanded it. We've taken the 1/2 inch round over on here. This is a slightly thinner than the other bull noses over there, but it'll be okay because this is the thickest we got. You know, we're trying to make it work. It's also a little bit short because it's not long enough, but I've got a second piece to fill in, so we'll splice that using the miter saw. But let's take a look and see how it's going to look and see how wide I need to cut the filler strip to go in there. All right, so there we go. We've got our piece in here. I've got it screwed down. I took some of that sawdust that I made this morning and I mixed it with glue to make a wood filler, and it looks like our places we patched in here are going to look pretty good. Of course, this is going to take a while to dry because it is actually glue. I won't be able to sand this till tomorrow. But one of the things I had to do was to get the balusters in here for the inspection. So tomorrow I can get that part done. So get the railings outside,
change the 2 breakers, change all the plugs that are below 5 feet, and put in the insulation. Occupancy. Getting a little closer each day. All right, so I got some barbecue some friends brought over, so I'm gonna go eat that. Then I'm gonna come back and get set up for my live stream. Yeah. Well, I am excited about this because I've now gone through, I did a chalk line here all the way down, and I've got my holes drilled for my balusters every 4 1/4 inches. And I started sanding here, and you can see the filler that I made is actually much better than the commercial one in here. So we're sanding this out smooth, and then we could actually put the balusters in here tomorrow, which is another one of those things that we need to get done. I'm excited. This is huge right here. A little sanding, a little more filling, get our cove molding up underneath here. This will be great. Another thing I'm doing down here too is, if I can find a roller and a paintbrush, we're going to go ahead and put primer on this to seal it all up and get it ready for actually being able to paint it with the semi-gloss and the light gray in between. So that all of a sudden will start making this look a whole lot better. Alright, so that's the first coat of primer. It'll dry out in about a half hour. I'll come back and I'll put another coat on it. And now you can kind of see how the stairwell is floating in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to paint the color that's on that wall in here in white semi-gloss over there. It's going to be a pain in the ass, a whole bunch of work, but I'm glad I got that much done. So now I'm going to go back up and work on the balusters. So this is where I realize the craziness sets in. It is 9 o'clock on a Sunday night. And I'm working here on the handrails. Now this is really important because this is a safety issue. You got to make sure that the balusters are no more than 4 inches apart, that a baby couldn't stick his head through. And you need to have them up around the stairway here so that way nobody falls through. So this is the original one. We had to make some more balusters to match it over here. And it has basically a trough that's up underneath of here. Now, I just drilled the hole right here. Let me point the camera down so you can see a little bit more. I went through, I chalk lined from the center point of this to there, a chalk line, and then drilled 1/2-inch holes so that way a wood dowel, little wood dowel will go in there, and it's a little notch on both sides here. So this gets pushed on there, it slides in, boom, it hits that 3 1/4 inch piece. I shoot a nail up in there, take another one of these little spacers, and I push it up there and tack it in. And that, my friends, is how we're doing the balusters. The hard part, of course, is cutting out all of the pieces of wood here, getting the post in place, and now it's kind of pretty much easy. It's on cruise control. But to be doing this on a Sunday night, it's kind of crazy. But for whatever reason, and I'm not sure what it is, I get energized from this place. My wife will say, you know, like last night, we finished dinner at 10 o'clock and I came over here and I put varnish on the railings. And it's just like you want to do more, because everything we get done, it's all of a sudden a whole new look. And it just gets better and better. And so now you're at the point where people will notice the difference of what you do. You know, when I'm up underneath the house and I'm wiring or plumbing and all that, I notice to see those changes and know that they're big. But when, you know, a person came in here a couple of weeks ago, they look around and they see the walls, you know, looking like ass, as Shady McCoy would say. And they say, oh, you got a lot of work to do. And it's like, not as much as you think. Most of the work is stuff that people will never see. But just the course of 2 days ago, not having these even stained, now seeing them stained, varnished, and now the balusters in here, all of a sudden it's like, wow. And, you know, when I was doing my live stream and sitting here and having this as a backdrop, it just looks beautiful. So it ends up being that I just want to do more to see more of the results of the place being done. So my wife has just come back over, and the stairwell I painted with two colors. I put 2 coats of Kills on to block out the black and the stains that were in there. And she's getting ready to start painting it with semi-gloss. Put a coat on it tonight. It's like, I'm rubbing off on you, baby. I'm rubbing off on you. Yeah, I'm rubbing off. So let me double check and make sure that my spacers are good. I don't want to get off on these. Okay, all right, we're good to go. All right, I'm gonna keep on working it. Man, I tell you what, look at that. The bride is painting the semi-gloss on there. We put 2 coats of primer on it to go ahead and get rid of the black. And the original, okay, it's drywall and it had been painted and it started peeling, so we scraped off all that. I ended up basically glazing, and that's where you're just putting a thin layer of joint compound over it to seal it up, and then sanded it out. But you can see that looks, oh, that looks fabulous. You know, when you start getting things like this done on the house, it's beginning to look like a home. You know, when I finish, I got to go through and do some more plastering. I've been working on the railings, of course, and trying to get the stuff ready for the occupancy. Once tomorrow, I should be able to finish those railings without a problem. I'll finish those railings and then up under the house to do the insulation. Get that out of the way, then I'll be working on stuff that will really do the finishing look, you know, get some more of the drawers done for the kitchen cabinets, get the plastering put on the walls. Maybe we get crazy and start sanding some of the floors. That'd be really crazy. It'd be actually really nice if I could get the downstairs here sanded out and the upstairs sanded out and put a coat of varnish on before we go out of town. Then that way you can just dry and not have to worry about anybody stepping on it. That would really get us way ahead. But look at that. Look at the detail. Look at how nice look at that. That's beautiful. And the wall don't look bad either.